Good morning, Lisa. Welcome to the Morning Muffin, your morning carbo load of real estate. Oh, safe.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Jen. I told you already I had that song in my head this morning and I couldn't get rid of it.
I don't know
So
if
let's
it's
sing
really
it
a
out loud.
song. I don't really know how it should go. Like it has the morning carbo load of real estate. Should
Let's
it go
go ahead
like
and
up or down? It's got like its own like cadence, right? Like anything, but can I change it up?
I
Okay.
don't know. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Today we're talking about St. Paul and St. Peter,
The cities.
the cities in Minnesota. But we can talk about the guys too if we really wanted to.
Well, I think the story you were just telling me was interesting.
Oh, yeah. You said you went to Catholic school, so I thought you knew it.
I also said I didn't pay attention. I wasn't a good Catholic,
Yeah.
and I'm no longer Catholic, so but I didn't pay
Yeah.
attention. I was busy doing things that people did in the 60s or in the 70s, not pay.
Oh, you almost aged yourself a little bit.
I told my age the other day on here.
I know. Okay. Okay. So, I guess who wants to go
You
first
go
today?
first.
Rock,
You go
paper,
first.
scissors? Okay. Oh, I'll talk about St. Paul, right?
You
St.
talk
Paul,
about St. Paul.
Minnesota. I live just south of there, across the river. St. Paul, Minnesota, rich in history. Lots of people could come here and visit. There's a history center here, which is really great. If you have a chance to come and visit it in St. Paul, it's great. I don't know if it's open. We got the Science Museum, all the fun stuff. Uh, we could talk about how St. Paul became St. Paul. It talked about this is my favorite story ever, okay? Just because
Ever?
I it was pioneer days, right? So there was like this fur trader who's like 60 years old. Huh? Well, it's one of them. They're weird stories. I love how like pioneer, how cities became cities, how someone's like stuck something in the ground and said, "This is mine." Like, have you ever watched Eddie Izzard?
No, I have not.
Eddie Izzard's like no flag, no country.
Oh, I don't know who he
Okay,
is.
so I'm gonna put something in here in the comments because I don't want to go on one of my rants. I'm gonna talk about St. Paul.
Okay.
So St. Paul, Minnesota, there is this like 60-year-old fur trader who's like, I'm sick of fur trading. I want to make bathtub gin. And I don't know what they did. His name was I have to look it up. Like Pierre Perrant, right? He was French Canadian. That's who he was. Pierre Perrant, and he only had one eye. Like I should share my screen with you guys because there's like a little drawing of him, and like this is the best story because all the characters are like caricatures. It's amazing. See, oh, there's a drawing of him like
Oh,
in the
that
pig's
is
eye
so cool.
beer that people might recognize. And then here's an actual drawing of him in 1938. Okay, anyway. But he's like, I want to make bathtub gin. And so he decides to open, I'm trying to find the right thing here. He has this like place near Sport Snelling in Minneapolis, and then they like kicked all the squatters out, and he's like, where can I move my distillery? So he found like a cave in St. Paul. This story's so great. So a guy with one eye finds a cave to move his distillery into, and is like right along the river. It's like perfect for the distillery, it can keep things running and whatnot. Sailors come up and down the Mississippi, and fancy boats and stuff. And then, of course, this is where we were also talking about Catholics. The Catholics heard, oh, this guy's got booze over here. So
I was a good Catholic in that way as well.
there is this like missionary who like made a church. He's like, I'm gonna call this church St. Paul, and or name it, Cathedral of St. Paul or whatever. It was just a little tiny church, of course, and then it became a cathedral. And he's like, oh, you drunks can't name this city Pig's Eye after Pierre Perrant, you heathens. we're going to name it after a saint and put some good in you people. So that's the fun story of St. Paul.
That's a good story. I don't have that amusing story about St. Peter.
This is just a Wikipedia page. There's tons of places you can go to the History Center and whatnot. But we're gonna fast forward, 200 years to modern times, and we're gonna talk about we're going to talk about St. Paul and the new safe housing. Safe as in SAFE. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again because there's some new laws that are taking place in St. Paul as of March of 2021, and we want to talk about it. Here's a PDF of it. Stable, accessible, fair, and equitable. There's some amazing stats here that basically talk about what they're going to change. These are the 5 things that they're going to change. One of the biggest things is the just cause notice, and it's a policy that increases housing stability. Blah, blah, blah. Basically, you have to provide just cause of non-renewal of leases or termination. And just cause includes non-payment of rent, repeat late payments, and there's other criteria. And so you can look that up, and also advance notice of sale. So you have to give a written notice, not only to the city, but also to the tenant before placing the property on the market.
Okay, and let me ask you about that. So you have to give the city notice that you're selling as a landlord?
Yep, the city and the tenant.
Well, that is good information for us to know as realtors. I didn't know that. And as you know, I've got some people in St. Paul who are thinking about selling.
Yeah.
That's a landlord. Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. So I'm assuming that's a 60-day notice as well as the 60-day notice to the tenant.
I didn't look up how long it is, and I don't know if they're still ironing out some of the details. It doesn't come into effect until March 1st, so I'm not quite sure. This is just an overview. If you guys want to look up more, stpaul.gov will have it. It's called the Safe Housing Tenant Protections, and you can look it all up. You can also call the Minnesota Housing Line as well. But let's look at some of these stats that are super important and why these were put in place. So over 50% of residents in St. Paul are renters. It is a renter majority city. That's
a huge number.
It is, absolutely. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you choose to look at it, it's disproportionately people of color and indigenous people. So 83% of African-American households are renting compared to only the 41% of white households in the city.
Huge discrepancy.
Huge discrepancy. So then we talk about, economic justice imperative. There's some more stats to go along with that as far as median income and percentage of rent to income, which is huge. Like if you're not making as much money, and we both know that rent is way more expensive than owning, that there's some, you're already earning less, you're already paying more. There's going to be some imbalances, and this is just kind of to make it more stable, more accessible, especially in the inner cities where they're not building. Like we're just maintaining.
Right.
So this is only a 4-page document. I'm going to go ahead and copy it into the comment sections here. So you'll be able to see the link at the bottom if you want.
Love it. Jen disappeared again. She pushed the wrong button. I'm sure she'll be back. So I'm going to start talking about St. Peter when she returns. I hope she comes back quickly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Jennifer, where are you? There she is. She's coming back.
How do I? Jen? They're right next to one another. They have to make them bigger.
I think you need to maybe put the links in after the show.
No, it's not the links. It's the problem is the share screen button is right next to the leave studio button. And they're 2-word buttons, share screen and leave studio. And my brain just like
Just went beep. Oh, I get it. I'm pulling something up on
beep.
my computer. Oh, beep. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about St. Peter. Are you beeping me? So
yes, do it.
I don't know if people know where St. Peter is, but it is in Nicollet County, 10 miles north of Mankato. So what is that, an hour away or so? Something like that. Small town, 12,000, I'm assuming 12,000 people. It was like 11,100 and some in the 2020 census, but it's a small college or a small town, home to Gustavus Adolphus College, which is a great college. So it is a college town. A lot of the residents are younger. Their population is actually, the average age is like 27, which I thought, I mean, that's really young. Anyway, I just have a little history. I don't have fun history like you had, but it was founded in 1853, named Rock Bend, and then it was renamed St. Peter in 1855 because people from St. Paul came down and wanted to rename it, so they renamed it.
It's those Catholics.
It's so Catholic.
Was there a distillery there?
What?
Was there a distillery there?
I didn't read anything about a distillery, but there is alcohol involved in this story. So the governor of the state in 1857, he owned some land down in St. Peter, and he wanted to move the capital to St. Peter. But there was this guy named Joseph Rolette, he was like the chairman of the bills committee or something. And he had that bill in hand. It was passed to change the capital to St. Peter. And he decided to go to a St. Paul hotel and get drunk and play cards and not bring the bill to the governor to sign. So apparently the police were looking for him and everything, and they couldn't find him because he was hiding in a hotel. And he went in to get the bill signed, but he was too late. And so the capital stayed in St. Paul. So that's my little history.
What could have been?
What could have been? So I'm sure that governor was kind of mad. He, didn't get his land to develop his land as a capital.
Yeah, it was honestly a personal move, right? It was
everybody's, trying to fill their own coffers, right?
That's why you get into politics, right? Oh,
politicians. Okay, so
anything
oh great,
I say this morning, yeah, wake up on the silly side of the bed.
You woke up on the silly side of the bed? That's okay. Okay, so we were going to talk about the ordinances for having chickens in St. Peter. People want to have chickens, and I have to find where this is on my computer. So there's rules about chickens, and
in every city, right?
Well, in every city, yes, but I don't think in every city you need to have a permit to have a chicken. But you absolutely have to have a permit to get chickens in your backyard, and they must be in the backyard. Of course, they can't be in the front yard. But they have rules about distance from your neighbors. And one of the things that Jen and I were talking about earlier was that you can't kill a chicken on your property for some reason.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I don't want people to think that I'm cruel, but it's very easy to kill a chicken. And
who's going to know, right?
Yeah. I mean, and people have animals for food. I mean, you could. It's one thing to have a chicken and to not eat it, and another thing to say, well, I'm going to go to the grocery store where, somebody else slaughtered your brother and I'm going to eat that and right in front of you. So I don't know. It's just like, Damn. Okay. But
Restrictions. Politicians and their restrictions. And you can only have female chickens too.
it would
So
be different if they owned the chickens, right? If they owned the hatcheries.
yes. But anyway, so make sure you get a permit if you're going to have chickens in St. Peter.
So we also were talking about why we were talking about the chickens.
What do you mean? Are you going to pull up that article, that NPR article?
I am. COVID time. Not only was there rising popularity in owning chickens already, but since COVID has started, all the hatcheries were absolutely swamped this spring. So everybody that could own a chicken, that wanted to own a chicken, and there he is.
How could you not want to own that little chick?
I mean, it doesn't look like that for very long.
I know, but it's so cute.
So this is a fun little article. It's got, a bunch of hatcheries, with schools being closed and stuff. I'm trying to find that link again. People wanted to start doing more tactile things at home. In summertime, you're spending time at home. One of the weird side things that happened was a bunch of lumber. People were building fences in their backyard, and now they're building chicken coops. So we had a run on lumber.
Isn't that amazing? And, it's, excuse me, I think what a great thing to teach children, because I'm sure a lot of these are families, about animals and what it takes to take care of an animal, because it's not easy taking care of animals.
And honestly, also, I don't know if you remember, so there are some class action lawsuits that are happening right now with some of the people that worked in meat packing plants early in COVID, when there was a run on meat, and then there was all this pressure to stay open. And, there's people that died of COVID. There was people that contracted COVID from work, and there was meat packing plants that weren't adjusting to social distancing things because they were trying to meet this demand, because I don't know if people were hoarding meat or what they were doing. But this chicken story could very well be a byproduct of the meat run as well. So COVID.
It's changed everything.
Everything. But so move to St. Peter and own chickens. But you can own chickens in a lot of different cities. You don't have to just move to St. Peter. We found something fun in the most recent city council meeting and wanted to talk about it. They're trying to make the chickens regulations more like owning a dog, which they're a city where if you own a dog or a cat, you need a pet license. A lot of cities are like that. I don't know if people know this. We should have talked about it in yesterday's episode.
I don't know if I need a permit for my dog where I live. I hope not.
I know in Minneapolis you do. That's part of the tags. If you want to take them to a dog park and stuff, you got to have tags, and there's a rule to how many you can have in some places and things like that. So, there's always somebody that ruins it for the rest of us. That's what it is,
That's true.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. Well, tomorrow we have an episode, fitness. What now?
Yeah. And Jen asked me if I would wear my fitness clothes, and I said no.
No, that's not what you said. You're like, what fitness clothes?
I did
what? Yeah. You did what fitness clothes?
I own t-shirts.
T-shirts is what
clothes. So anyway, we'll be talking about that tomorrow.
All right. Lisa, have a beautiful day, and stay strong.
What did you say?
Stay strong.
Stay strong. Okay, I will. You too. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.